Hey guys, what's up? Nate here from Protoculture and Shadow Chronicles, back here again in Sonic Academy with another how to use video. Today we're checking out a really special compressor. It's the Shadow Hills Mastering Compressor. Now this was originally coded by Brainworx for the UAD platform, but we've finally got a native version to check out. So let's take a look at the controls and how best to set this up for your mix. Let's dive into the DAW and check this out. Cheers. Okay, so here we have it, the Shadow Hills Industries Mastering Compressor. Let's just take a quick look at the controls. They seem a little bit daunting at first, but once you kind of realize what's going on here, it's fairly simple to set up. You've got two monitoring sections in the middle here, as well as this little green thing down here, which is the output of the plugin. We're going to take a look at the different settings for those in a sec. But what you need to basically just see is this is divided into sort of three sections. You've got this section here, which is an optical compressor, uses an optical detection phase. There's no settings for the attacker release time. It's all fixed ratios, etc. And this is kind of your leveling component. And then that feeds into the discrete or VCA compressor, which is this section over here. And this one you have a lot more control over the ratio, the attack and release time, etc. Finally, the gain from this one feeds into a transformer switcher, which is this little section over here. And you have this nickel, iron, and steel sections. So these are basically just sort of circuits for coloring the output slightly. Each one uses a different transformer model, which we'll come to in just a bit. And then this section over here is basically the sort of controls for the routing of the whole thing. So you can disable, you have controls to disable the different various compressors, sidechain inputs, and you also have the dual mono and stereo mode, which we're going to take a look at as well. We're going to start off in stereo mode, which renders this side of the right-hand side of the plugin inoperable, and the left and right channels will be linked, so we'll only be working with this side here. When we get to the practical example, we'll switch to dual mono and set it up as we would in a mastering session. First things first, let's just take a listen to what the different compressors sound like. Let's turn off the discrete compressor, and we're going to just take a listen to the optical one. I've just got a track that's unmastered here, and we're going to just take a listen to some extreme examples first, what each of these compressor components sounds like. So let's check this out. This is dry. And let's dial in quite a bit of threshold on the optical compressor to hear what that sounds like. And we'll balance out the volume. So I just want to mention there as well, you can see the gain reduction that we have over here. You can set what gain reduction you're looking at for each of these components. So if we are working on the discrete compressor, we can switch over to the discrete there. You'll see nothing happening now. Back to the optical, you can see the gain reduction happening there, and then you can also see the output of the compressor as well. So you can hear we're getting a really nice, fat, quite slow compressor, but it's just kind of bringing up the sort of warmth and all the bigness of this. The optical compressor really works as sort of like a more of a general leveler, and then your sort of peaks and fine controls you're going to be doing with the VCA compressor. So let's just take a listen now to the difference between the two. I'm going to disable the optical compressor, and we're going to enable the discrete section and dial some extreme settings in for that as well, just so you can really just hear what it's doing. Here we have our attack. We'll leave that on 30 for now. You have a ratio from 1.2 all the way up to flood. So flood is essentially, it's not quite limiting. It's about 20-to-1 ratio, really high ratio. We'll leave it on that so we can really kind of hear what's going on with the compressor. And then also on the recovery section over here, you've got your standard recovery controls in sort of time-based controls, and then you have dual. Now, dual is handy. It basically mimics the same preset recovery that you have on the optical section over here. So if you want to kind of link the release times between the two sections, you're going to want to set that to dual, and they'll be pretty much the same. But for this, we're going to keep a nice fast recovery as well, so we can check out what's going on. And let's dial this in and take a listen. So this is the dry one again. Quite a bit of threshold, and let's just balance that again. Okay, let's just take a listen to a shorter attack time as well there. So you can hear how snappy that is. That's the VCA compressor in action there. You can really pull out those transients and really control the little peaks and stuff. So yeah, just remember you're going from the optical one, which is kind of your global compression, and then into this one, which is the more fine-tuning stuff there. And then finally, we're going to head into the transformer selector over here. Now, these are quite subtle differences that you're gonna have. I'm actually going to disable the. Let's just actually reset this. We'll disable the optical and we'll leave the threshold down completely for the discrete one. We're going to drive this a little bit harder into the transformer section here. You can use this without the compressors and use it just as sort of a preamp or sort of coloring box, just to add a bit of different analog warmth to your tracks as well. You've got a choice between nickel, iron, and steel. Nickel's going to be the cleanest of the bunch. Iron and nickel's also got a slight boost on the top ends. Iron's a little bit more low-mid area focused. It adds in a little bit of even harmonic distortion. And steel is slightly more distorted and has a little bit of a boost in the low end as well. So it kind of really just makes nice warm sounds down in the low end. We can try and take a listen to this now. Like I said, that is quite subtle though. We're going to drive the compressor quite a bit here just to push it through the transformers a little bit harder.
3, 2,
nickel, iron, steel. So they're very subtle, but differences in coloration for the whole plugin there as well. Right, so what I want to do now is we're going to quickly just do some practical and set this up for a mastering session. Just the primary sort of reason for using this, but like I said, you can use this on vocals. It's a great bus compressor as well, especially when you're kind of using just the optical compressor maybe for vocals, or like a drum bus, you can be using the VCA compressor, or even just adding this to add a bit of color to your mixes as well. And lastly, just before we dive into the practical, you've got the standard plugin alliance stuff at the top here. You've got a sidechain filter, which adds a high pass filter to the sidechain input. Key in will allow you to add in an external sidechain input if you want to do some sidechaining from a kick or whatever. That'll enable that. And then you have a global mix as well. This is the preset selection as well. And then you've got some sort of some A-being sections here. You can check out different settings. All right, so let's set this up like I would in a mastering session. We're going to be aiming for like sort of -2 dB gain reduction. It's subtle, but that's what you want to be doing in the mastering section anyways. So we've got this zeroed in, reset basically. I'm going to start in stereo mode and we're going to end up in dual mono. I like it in dual mono so you get a little bit more width and difference between the left and right channels. But the dual mono does not link when you're working on it, so you kind of need to set these up. They are stepped controls, so you just kind of copy them afterwards. So I'm just starting in stereo. I'm going to set up my compressor here, and then we're going to move over to dual mono afterwards. So let's quickly set this up as I would in a session. We want to be looking at the gain reduction for the optical first.
3, 2, 1.
gain. Okay, I'm happy with that. We're doing just around 2 dBs gain reduction on the optical compressor. Now we're going to jump down to the discrete compressor, and I think we'll go for a ratio of about 2. We'll leave the attack time at about 10. And let's bring up the recovery to around 0.5, I guess. We can go a little bit, yeah, we'll leave it there for now. And what we can do now is we can have the discrete gain reduction on this side, so we can see both the optical and the discrete on that side. So let's
3, 2, 1.
go around about there. So again, doing around minus 2 dB gain reduction. Just going to boost the makeup gain slightly. There we go. So I'm quite happy with that. I think we're going to switch to the iron just to kind of give it a little bit more, few harmonics in the sort of low mids there. And I'm going to turn off the sidechain filter. I don't think we really need to be worried about that too much. And what I want to do is now go to dual mono. So we're going to switch this over into dual mono, and you'll see the settings haven't changed at all there. And it's all a little bit lopsided now. So we just need to basically go and copy in the settings that we have on that side. Let's stick our attack down. Our ratios, gain to 10. It's a shame they didn't do a link feature like some of the other plugins like Iron and stuff, but it's not too much of a big deal with these step controls like this. So there we go. Now we've got them set up correctly.
3, 2, 1.
And now we can also listen to the left and right. We can see the gain reductions for both sides. And I can see there's something not quite right here. Our attack. There was a lot more gain reduction happening on the right hand side as opposed to the left. That's better. Let's check the opticals together. And the outputs.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, and there you go. I'm pretty happy with that. And that's basically how I would set up the Shadow Hills compressor for a mastering session. I hope this has covered everything that you guys would want to know about this. But definitely go check this out. It's a fantastic sounding compressor. And it's very much hyped for a very good reason. Cool. I will catch you guys soon with another video here on Sonic Academy pretty soon. Catch you guys then. Cheers.
Thanks everybody for watching, commenting and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content. And if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.